Hey guys, Dustin from Dynasty Bros here is back with another Fantasy Football Economics 101. We're going to be talking about supply and demand. Today we're going to be looking at the running back position. And much like wide receivers, running backs is a very complex role. What I'm going to break it down is what I consider running back ones, which are guys who can carry the first and second down work, maybe a 3-down role, and then wide receiver twos who are either going to be a change of pace guy, a rotational guy, or a pass catcher. So let's start this time with our supply. Now, with running backs, age matters a ton. We saw this last year. We saw guys like Zeke, Dalvin Cook, Leonard Fournette not get jobs right away because of their age and because of the workload. So here's what I got. Guys that I think can be running back ones next year. Derrick Henry, but he's 30 years old. Josh Jacobs, 26-year-old. DeAndre Swift, 25 years old. Tony Pollard, who's 27. Austin Eckler, who's 29. And Saquon Barkley, who's also 27. Now, running back two is guys that I think can be rotational pieces. Gus Edwards is 29. Rico Dowdle, 26. We got a lot of 26-year-olds here. A.J. Dillon, Joshua Kelly, Zach Moss, all 26. Deontay Foreman's 28. CEH, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, only 25. Singletary, Devin Singletary, Houston, 26. J.K. Dobbins, 25. Antonio Gibson's 25 and a half. Zeke's 29. Hunt, 28. These are ages when they hit the market. Now, that's our supply. So what we're seeing here is we got a supply of running back ones at 6. We got running back 2, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We got 12. That's a ton. Now, let's look at demand. Who's looking for a running back based on those guys? What I see here is the teams looking for a running back 1. Houston, Chargers, Dallas, Giants, Panthers, Raiders. Now, I think the Raiders is iffy because I like Zamir White. They might be looking for a running back 2. So let's take running back 2s. The Patriots, Ravens, Eagles, Commanders, Bengals, Packers. So if we take running back 1, I'm going to move Las Vegas over to here. I think them we're looking. I like Zamir White. I think he can be a 1. They're looking for a rotational guy. So we're looking at 5 guys looking for running back 1s. We're looking at 7 people looking for running back 2s. How's that compared to supply and demand? Let's go back. 5 running back 1s to 6. So we've got 1 extra. We're at basically +1. We're looking for running back 1s. What does that mean? That means one of these guys has to shift over to be a running back 1 on a team. Actually, 1 less of these guys is not going to get a job is what that means. So what that means is, do I think Derrick Henry or Austin Eckler is a true running back 1? I don't think so. I actually think both these guys, Henry and Eckler, I think more Eckler than Derrick Henry, might struggle to get a full workload. We even saw this year with Derrick Henry. The Titans drafted Tajay Spears, rotated him in. Derrick Henry still had a good year, not a typical Derrick Henry year. I think it falls off some more. Now, we need 7 running back 2s. We've got 12 plus these 2. So we're looking at really 14 guys for 7 spots. That means only half these guys are really going to get spots. Now, doesn't mean these guys are going to be on the street free agents. I think they find roles on teams. We're going to have seen teams pick up guys to be another rotation back. Maybe guys get cut. We'll go there. So what does that mean? Which of these guys do I think gets it? Well, look at their age. CEH, 25. He's been just okay with the Chiefs. Does he get a shot at 25 years old to be a running back 2 on a team? Maybe. Rico Dowdle is only 26, but also 26 with a lot less wear and tear. We saw him have a good role, step into that running back role. He had a good year with Dallas. Does he find a spot at 26 years old? Gus Edwards, 29. Whew, that's up there with Henry. Never been a real, full-time guy. Maybe he struggles. Maybe he becomes the Leonard Fournette. A.J. Dillon has struggled in his role. Josh Kelly has struggled in his role. Zach Moss had a good time when he was healthy, but has never been a full-time guy. J.K. Dobbins, 25 years old. Injury history, we get it. But if he resigns with Baltimore or somewhere else, I think he can step up and be over here and be a running back 1. Antonio Gibson, 25. Zeke, we saw him struggle to get up, saw him do good. I think he might have another year left as running back 2. Kareem Hunt, I've never been a Kareem Hunt fan. If you know me, follow me, you know that. I think he's not worth playing, not worth having, but he might get a role. So what does that mean for your dynasty team? Well, if I'm sitting here and I'm holding some of these guys, I'm scared. The only guy I'm not scared of, DeAndre Swift, 25 years old. Yes, had some injury issues when he was with Detroit, came over to Philly, played really well. The problem is he's fallen off right now, so his value is so low. You can get him cheap. He's only 25 years old. He's one of the younger guys on here who can be a running back 1, and we've seen that there's plenty of teams over here that need someone. Imagine him on Houston with C.J. Stroud in that passing offense. Imagine him taking that Austin Eckler role in the Chargers. Imagine him going to Dallas and filling in for the Tony Pollard role. Giants, Carolina, maybe not so much. Chuba Hubbard's still going to be there in Carolina, so I'm not sure they're looking for someone. I think Chuba Hubbard's a 2. I don't think Swift is the right guy, but there's a lot of good landing spots. Even if he re-signs with the Eagles, great spot. We saw him have a good year. Baltimore, you could take what would be J.K. Dobbins' role. Cincy could take over for Joe Mixon if they decide to cut him or Joe Mixon's another year out. There's some good landing spots here for him. So that's the guys I'm looking for. So what I'm doing is I'm trading some of these guys at value. Austin Eckler has been a fantasy superstar, and we appreciate everything Austin Eckler has done, but we can't get caught up in the name of Austin Eckler and what he has done. It's what he will do in the future, especially in Dynasty. He's looked not great this year. Does that continue with the new offense with Kellen Moore as they try to rework that offense? He's 29 years old. Does he stick around? We know he was unhappy with this contract. He's a free agent. Where does he go? Does he get a spot? Does his play this year make it harder for him to find a role? Maybe he's just a wide receiver 2 on a ring. Maybe he's the new Kareem Hunt where he goes to a team, has some juice, but gets rotated. Maybe he gets the Derrick Henry treatment where he goes for and they bring in a rookie to kind of spell him and take over. Let's talk rookies. I don't see any rookies right now that are wide receiver, that are running back ones. I just don't. Now, Travion Henderson might come out. Until we know that he does, there's no one here. There probably is a guy or two that's going to be running back too. It's tough to tell right now. It's not a great class for running backs. So I'm going to hold off on that. So I'm looking at this and going, don't like Deontay Foreman. Don't like Gus Edwards. Like we go, A.J. Dillon's a question mark. Josh Kelly, Zach Moss, question marks. Singletary hasn't played well. Be on his third team probably. Not great. Antonio Gibson, I like him. Zeke, probably out on him, probably out on Hunt. So these are the guys I'm looking to trade. So now you're saying, Dustin, what is this? This is great information. I wish I would have known this a couple weeks ago when I was in the thick of the playoff hunt. Well, let's look ahead. Let's look ahead to 2025. Let's look at who is our supply. Who's going to be out there available? You've got Nick Chubb, Aaron Jones, James Conner, Joe Mixon, Raheem Mostert, Javonte Williams, Michael Carter, Ramondre Stevenson, Kenny Gainwell, Chuba Hubbard, Khalil Herbert, Jaylen Warren, and Alexander Madison. That's a ton of guys who are all fairly young. Look at our demand. Who's looking for a guy then? Well, Green Bay, right? They're already losing A.J. Dillon this year. They're going to lose Aaron Jones next year. Arizona losing James Conner, Michael Carter, losing both their guys right now. Cincy losing Joe Mixon. What does that mean? Denver, Javonte Williams. What are they going to do? They're going to go with Chase McLaughlin. Who knows? New England losing Zeke this year, Ramondre next year. Look at that guys looking at twos. Cleveland, are they looking for someone to spell Jerome Ford? Do they like Jerome Ford to be that one? Philadelphia, right? We know they're looking for a guy. Pittsburgh, they're going to lose Warren. They have Najee, so do they looking for a running back too? Minnesota, do they like Ty Chandler now that Madison's going to be gone next year? So that's what we're looking at. So we are looking at a supply of like 15 guys. And our demand is really only 8 at best. So again, that's how we have to look at supply and demand and what that means. So how am I addressing this in my free agency and in my trading this year? I'm picking up the guys that I think have more future value. I'm looking at age, DeAndre Swift. I'm looking at Dobbins. I'm looking at Gibson. I'm looking at Rico Dowdle. I'm selling guys like Henry. Josh Jacobs is entering 26, not playing the last couple games. Does he get a job? We know he played this whole will he, won't he, signed his franchise tag. Same thing with Barkley. I'm looking at guys next year. I'm looking at the age of these guys next year. Javonte Williams is going to be 25 years old, hitting the free agency market. I like him. He's up here with Swift for me in the following year. So I'm buying him now at maybe a reduced cost because we've seen him kind of struggle this year with Denver. They've had a rough offense. Buying him for future production for 25 and 26. I'm looking at guys like Michael Carter. We saw his rookie year be really good. So that's where you have to go, hey, where do these guys line up? And where is our supply? Where is our demand for in NFL realm? And how does that affect your dynasty team? So right now, I'm looking at buying Dobbins, Gibson, Rico Dowdle, DeAndre Swift, maybe Josh Jacobs at 26. And I'm selling Derrick Henry, Austin Eckler, Saquon Barkley, Tony Pollard. But I'm also selling other guys out there. If I can get I'm selling Deontay Foreman. I'm selling a Hunt, a Zeke. If I can buy CEH cheap, I'm selling it out. Everyone's going to say, of course you sell Derrick Henry. Yeah, of course you do. But what do we do with the rookies coming in? I'm looking to tier up in my drafts because I don't see a ton of running backs that can compete there. So if I'm at pick 8, 7 in my first round, I'm looking to tier up, get one of the quarterbacks, and maybe one of the top 5 receivers, maybe a tight end, Brock Bowers. We're doing supply and demand tight ends next. So pay attention for that. If you didn't watch our wide receivers and quarterbacks, go back and watch that. So yes, it makes sense to sell a 30-year-old Derrick Henry and a 29-year-old Austin Eckler. What do we do with the Pollard and the Barkley? What do we do with the Josh Jacobs? Here's my thing with Josh Jacobs. I'm selling him. I don't see a ton of great options here that really want to pay him that range. Houston's young. Chargers are getting young. Dallas has a ton of contracts. I don't love these spots with the Giants and Carolina. Josh Jacobs on any of these teams would be a rotational guy, unless since he moves off of Joe Mixon, then maybe. So it all depends on where they go. That's what I'm looking at. So what I do with supply and demand is I look at who's available, where they might go, and what are the good landing spots. Same things we did with wide receivers. When we talked about the wide receiver ones, we had a bunch of guys that were wide receiver ones and only really 2 good landing spots. So I'm going to pay attention. I'm going to listen to the news, listen to the beat reporters, see who might be signing where. If it comes out that Josh Jacobs is having meetings with Cincy, that means Joe Mixon's gone. Do I love that? I think it's okay. If DeAndre Swift goes to Philly, I love it. He's a top guy. But if DeAndre Swift goes to the Patriots, I don't love that because I think Ramondre Stevens is the guy. Now, there could be some shifting. We might see some guys get cut. I can't speculate on that. Yes, you can look at contracts and go, this one's prohibitive, but we've seen guys who probably shouldn't get cut because of contracts stay. We've seen guys who have favorable contracts get cut just because of situations. But this is how I'm looking at supply and demand. It's a little murky with running back because it all kind of lines up where more running back ones than we need spots for, which means they fall back. There's a ton of running back twos, not a ton of spots. These guys will get jobs. But for fantasy, I'm not banking on Devin Singletary being a fantasy asset for me next year. I'm not banking on Zach Moss being a fantasy asset for me unless he gets a role on one of these teams where he's the starting guy or someone gets hurt. So that's how you have to play it. But I'm looking at buying right now Rico Dowdle, CEH, J.K. Dobbins, DeAndre Swift as the running backs I'm looking to based on supply and demand and where I see them going and seeing their value based on age. And that's how you look at supply and demand. This economics of the NFL affects your dynasty team in a way that you might not think about. Your leagues may don't. What can you do? How can you sell this narrative to your league mates? How can you sell the narrative of Josh Jacobs to your league mates? How can you sell Derrick Henry if you have him on your team right now to get more value out of him? You sell the narrative of, oh, look at all these teams that need a running back one. Oh my gosh, it's going to be so good, but knowing deep down it's not. It's all about creating narratives, selling guys based on valleys, peaks and valleys in value. We're going to talk about in the future video, but that's how you look at supply and demand economics for the NFL and how it affects your dynasty team. So if you haven't watched our wide receivers and quarterbacks, please go and do so. Hit the like and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Titans will be coming out next. Really enjoyed this series. We'll keep it going through the offseason. My DMs are open. You can find me at Twitter at the DUnit13. I'm always there to answer questions. Follow us at Dynasty Pros. We got a ton of great articles and content, video content, podcasts coming out to help you guys. Even right now. Right now is Dynasty. Even though it's the offseason, we're looking for the Super Bowl. Now is the time to win your Dynasty team. You don't win it in the draft. You don't win it in your waivers. You win it now by being able to pick up guys at cheaper value whose value will increase. And we start with looking at supply and demand to see how that affects. So thank you guys for watching. Hit that like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.